between Judaism and modern science, and how the texts in Judaism help in the formation of their understanding of modern science.
نفیاً یا سلباً یا ایجاباً.
Either in supporting it or going against it, either affirmative or negative.
البته کار او ما رو بی‌نیاز از یک نگاه تاریخی به مسئله هم نمی‌کنه در مورد همون مسئله.
But of course, what he's doing, what he did, does not make us we still need. It does not make us to ignore the historical part. We still need to look at the historical part of what actually happened.
آقای کریم یک سوالی رو فرستاده بودن راجع به عقل یونانی و عقل ایرانی. اون سوال رو اگر مطرح بکنید معلوم میشه چه مقدار با بحث ما ارتباط داره. لطفاً سوال مطرح بکنید.
He's saying that Mr. Karim had sent a question with regards to this topic, and if you can now ask that question so that we can then talk about it.
Bismillah, tabaraka wa ta'ala. Thank you. I'm suffering from a cold. Forgive me. The question revolved around the validity of Hellenic reason, aql in Muslim philosophy, especially with Kindi and Farabi and Ibn Sina and Ibn Rushd. Whether this is an alien intrusion or whether it has roots also in Islam and should not be seen as an importation, but that it found a shelter or under the umbrella of Islamic culture. There is something which could be seen as Greek but also is Muslim or Islamic. Because today there is a tendency, very strong tendency, in many Muslim societies, outside of Iran especially, to reject Islamic philosophy because it's Greek, not Muslim. Or it's Persian and Shiite, not Arab and Sunni. That's the other new form of this rejection. It's been very spread very much recently. I know in Malaysia this is what they think now. They reject philosophy, the study of philosophy, because they say Islamic philosophy is not Islamic. It's an alien doctrine. And of course the Orientalists have written a number of works. I'm thinking especially of that famous article by Ignaz Goldziher, which he published in German in 1908, Neoplatonic and Gnostic Elements in Hadith, which influenced even Muslim thinkers, that they accept his thesis, which by the way is wrong, that these hadith أول ما خلق الله العقل ثم قال له أكبر إلى آخره are Greek, Neoplatonic, and have nothing to do with the Quran or with Islamic teaching. And that later it was mitigated and changed and deflected in order to become acceptable to the Muslims. He said, لما خلق الله العقل قال له. So that they withdrew the sting from it to make it more Islamic. And this is incorrect, but very influential view, which has now been recycled. Now, if the Greek, so-called, or the Iranian, or the Syriac, because these are all, the Syriac, I'm thinking about the Christian mystical talk, mystical light. Al-aql fil jasad kan misbah fil bayt, or nurun yufarriqu bihi bayn al-haqq wal-batil. These are statements you find in the early sources, Malik, Muwatta, and others. They actually reflect perhaps a Christian teaching about nous. All of these could be questions about whether we should reject or filter out non-Islamic, non-Quranic, or whether we should understand them as being accepted and embraced by the Muslims because they are inherently in harmony and agreement with an essential Islamic perspective. That's my question.
من دیشب نامه ایشون رو دیدم، به سرعت خوندم و احساس کردم با بحث ما هم ارتباط داره. حالا باز برای که من دقیقاً مطمئن باشم و چیزی از بحث نمونده باشه میخوام که توضیح رو بله؟ فکر میکنم که مباحثی رو که ما داریم به صورتی پرسش بخش قابل توجهی از این پرسش شما رو جواب میده.
I think the discussion that we will be having today will be an answer to the major part of your question.
یعنی نشان خواهد داد که عقل یونانی و آنچه که در یونان مطرح بود، مواجهه متون در حد ذات خودش با این معنای از عقل چگونه است؟ آیا بازه یا بسته است؟ مقاومت میکنه یا داره همین معنای از عقل رو میپذیره و تایید میکنه؟
We will see whether the meaning of the intellect in the Greek tradition, the Greek intellect, as to what response the text had. Were they open to it or were they closed to it? Did they accept it or did they reject it?
ما یک رساله ای رو یکی از دانشجویان در دانشگاه تهران حدود 4 ماه پیش دفاع میکرد.
There was a thesis that one of the university students in the University of Tehran was defending 4 months ago.
و من داور اون رساله بودم.
I was the referee of that thesis.
اونجا بحثایی در گرفت راجع به همین معنای عقل و رویکردهای مختلف.
And there some debates occurred with regards to the meaning of the intellect in the same vein.
یکی از اساتید برگشت و به من گفت اصلا عقل در قرآن و در اسلام به معنای تجربه انباشته تاریخی بشر است.
One of the professors there, he responded to me, he said that the meaning of the intellect in the Quran is the
تجربه انباشته تاریخی بشر
is recorded experiences of humanity and mankind.
او برای عقل یک هویت ارتباطی و عرفی تعریف میکرد.
He gave a meaning to the intellect that was common and that had to do with communication or yes.
ما حتی این معنای از عقل را هم میخوایم ببینیم که قرآن با او چگونه مواجه شده. نسبت به این معنا ترمش نباشه و واژش نباشه، به طور مستقیم یا غیر مستقیم با دلالت مطابقی و یا التزامی سخنی داره یا نداره.
Even in this meaning of the intellect, which is purely a horizontal historical thing, we want to see what the Quran and the text have to say. Even this particular meaning, is it accepted or not?
خب بنده فکر میکنم که موضوع بحث ما روشن شد برای آنچه که امروز به اون خواهیم پرداخت.
I think the subject that we want to have, the subject of discussion has become clear.
و روش بحث ما هم روشن شد که با چه روشی بحث میکنیم.
And the methodology that we will be using has also become clear.
اگر شما اجازه بدید ما در بخش اول صحبت بدون اینکه به متون رجوع بکنم راجع به معانی مختلفی از عقل و اصطلاحات مختلفی از عقل که جهان اسلام در دیروز یا امروز با اون مواجه هست این مفاهیم رو یک شناسایی اجمالی داشته باشیم.
So if you will allow me, then in this first part we will turn to the different meanings of the intellect that either yesterday or today the world of Islam and the Islamic civilization was in contact with and came across.
من نمیدونم شاید جناب آقای دکتر موسوی دیروز راجع به مفاهیم و معانی مختلف عقل هم بحثایی اینجا داشتن.
I'm not sure whether Dr. Musavi, who spoke with you yesterday, whether he talked about the different meanings and levels of the intellect or not.
بنده یه مقاله‌ای رو راجع به معانی مختلف عقل در سال 2000 بود داره 2003 در تورنتو اونجا ارائه داده بودم که در اونجا 11 معنا از معانی عقل رو یه مقدار بحث دادیم.
I had written an article on 11 different meanings, or at least 11 different meanings of the intellect in a conference in Toronto, Canada in 2003.
حالا شاید اون مقاله هم دست شما دوستان رسیده باشه بله؟
And perhaps that the article is now in your hands, that you have been given that article.
در این بحث امروز هم باز این معانی از عقل رو من در بخشی از این مقاله که انشاءالله ترجمه خواهد شد و به شما خواهد رسید توضیح دادم. بله در مقاله که امروز متن امروز صحبت ماست و نوشته شده و ترجمه میشه انشاءالله.
In this article that we will be presenting today, which will be translated, these different meanings of the intellect have also been sort of covered.
بخش اول این مقاله تفاوتش با مقاله اونجا در روش ورود به بحثم هستش.
The first part of this particular article that we'll be covering today is different from the other one that you will be given in how we enter into these topics and how we present them.
در اونجا فقط ما 11 معنا یا ابتدا 18 معنای از عقل رو فقط گفتیم و توضیح دادیم.
In that other article we explained initially 18 and then in detail 11 different meanings in a very descriptive fashion.
اما اینجا اومدن راجع به این صحبت میکنیم که ما وقتی که میگیم اقسام عقل محور تقسیم بندی چیه؟
But in this particular article when we say that we have these different types of the intellect, we want to see what is the criteria for dividing and division of these types.
و 8 محور رو مشخص کردیم، یعنی وقتی تقسیم میکنیم عقل رو بر اساس بر این محور این اقسام رو داره، بر محور دوم اون اقسام رو داره، بر محور سوم اقسام دیگه‌ای برای عقل گفته میشه.
We were able to delineate 8 different criteria for this division, and for each one of them, for the first criterion, these are the parts, for the second one, these are the divisions, and for the third one, these are the different types.
مثلا یک محور بحث میکنه در مورد عقل به لحاظ وجودش و انتولوژیکالش، مثلا تقسیم میشه به 4 قسم، 5 قسم، 3 قسم. به لحاظ نحوه حکایت از واقع تقسیم میشه به اقسام دیگه و همینطور.
For instance, one of the criteria is the ontological, and from the ontological point of view, it is divided into so many parts. One of the other criteria looks at not the ontological, but it looks at the actuality and how the intellect is manifested in concrete reality, and the different divisions of that as well.
محورهای 8 گانه‌ای که تقسیمات عقل رو درباره اونها دنبال می‌کنیم عبارتند از این محورهایی که عرض می‌کنم.
The 8 different criteria that we will be using to divide the intellect into its different parts and types will be as follows.
اول تقسیمات وجود شناختی است.
The first will be the divisions that are based on ontology and ontological.
دوم تقسیماتی است که محور شبیه به قسم اول هست، یعنی مراتب وجودی است از حیث شدت و ضعف.
The second one is connected to the first, but it has to do with the existential states and the different levels of being with regards to the intensity or the weakness of that level of existence and being.
تقسیم سوم تقسیماتیه که به حسب معقول و موضوع ادراک تقسیم میکنیم.
The third is the subjective approach, where we look at the actual subject of intellection, and we see what is intellected to see how we can divide the intellect.
عقل احالا چون سابجکت گفتید، عقل اگر سوژه باشه به لحاظ ابژه خودش چه ابژه هایی رو مطالعه میکنه؟ آره ذهن من منتظر.
But if we look at it from the new meaning of subjective, then we look at what the subject as us, the knower, what objects it is coming to know. So from this point of view, it would be called objective, not subjective.
مثلا تقسیم میشه عقل به عقل نظری و عقل عملی.
For instance, here then we would divide the intellect into the theoretical and the practical.
سوم این بود. چهارم تقسیماتی است که عقل به لحاظ روشی پیدا میکنه.
The fourth is the methodological sort of division.
مثل عقل شهودی و عقل حصولی یا عقل تجربی و عقل تجریدی.
For example, the intuitive intellect, the experimental intellect, or the abstractive intellect.
پنجم تقسیماتیه که به لحاظ کاربردی عقل پیدا میکنه، مثل عقل انتقادی، عقل ارتباطی، عقل ابزاری و این موارد.
The fifth is a functional criteria as to how the intellect is applied. So, for instance, we can talk about the instrumental intellect, the critical reason, and so on.
ششم تقسیماتی است که عقل به لحاظ مبدأ وجودی خودش پیدا میکنه، مثل عقل قدسی و عقل سکولار و این تقسیمات.
The sixth is a criteria that can be called foundational, that looks at the base upon which the intellect is used. So hence we can look at the intellect that is the sacred intellect, the secular reason, and so on.
یا مثلا عقل خودبنیاد self established تو تعبیر هگل.
Or for instance the self-established intellect or reason in the terminology of Hegel.
هفتم بعد تقسیماتی است که عقل به لحاظ منطقه حضور خودش به لحاظ تاریخی پیدا میکنه، مثل عقل یونانی، عقل عربی و این تقسیمات، یا گروه هایی که این رو دارن مثل عقل کلامی یا عقل اشعری، این تقسیماتی هم پیدا میکنه.
The seventh is the criteria is the realm or the scope, and the intellect is divided based on the realm and scope of its application, including the geographical regions,
تاریخی، جغرافی و گروه های انسانی.
and social groups. For instance, the Arab intellect or the Greek intellect, and so on.
هشتم تقسیماتی است که عقل به اعتبار معرفت شناختی خودش پیدا میکنه که اصلا میتونه بشناسه، چه مقدار میتونه بشناسه، مثل عقل کانتی و یا عقل روشنگری enlightenment و این تقسیمات.
The eighth has to do with epistemology, or the criteria is the cognitive value, and the division revolves around the epistemological scope of the intellect. For example, the reason of the enlightenment, and the probable intellect, and so on.
خب اگر شما اجازه بفرمایید من برگردم و اصطلاحات و ترم‌ها و واژه‌هایی رو که عقل در این تقسیم بندی ها پیدا کرده یه بار راجع به اینها توافقی بکنیم و یه شناسایی بکنیم تا بحث زمینه آماده بشه، سراغ متون بریم، ببینیم که نسبت به هر یک از این اقسام متون قرآن و حدیث چه چیزهایی و چه برخوردی رو دارند.
So if you'll allow me, then we'll go back over these 8 different divisions, and we will go a little bit into each one of them, explaining their parts and divisions, and then after we've done that for all 8 of them, we will look at the texts, what the texts have to say, the Islamic texts, and their view with regards to these different divisions of the intellect.
موافق هستید که وارد بحث بشیم؟ اگر مطلبی هست بفرمایید.
If you are in agreement, then we will continue, or if you have some comment or question right now, then we can take that.
مطلبی نکته
The small question. The hadith from Imam, that is first not familiar with me, the hadith tradition of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, other traditions from Imam. I can understand that.
بله من ما عرض کردم تکست رو که به کار میبریم بنده تعبیر اهل البیت رو به کار بردم، حالا ایشون امام رو به کار تو ترجمه امام رو به کار بردن. بگید اینو.
When I said the hadith, I said the hadith of the Prophet and also the Ahl al-Bayt. In translation I said Imams, but he said the hadith of the Ahl al-Bayt.
اونم باز به دلیل مرجعیتی که اهل البیت توی تکست دارند و توی متن حدیث نبوی دارند.
And this is because of the authority that the Ahl al-Bayt have with regards to the hadith of the Prophet, the hadith Nabawi, the authority that they have in that regard.
Only the translation, interpretation.
حالا به لحاظ تاریخی هم اهل البیت یه مرجعیت و تأثیرگذاری در جهان اسلام داشتند. ترجمه
From the historical point of view, the Ahl al-Bayt did have an authority in themselves in the Islamic world.
با صرف نظر از نحوه برخوردی که فرقه های مختلف به لحاظ اعتقادی با اهل بیت داشتند.
This is regardless of the different views and opinions that the different sects had with regards to the Ahl al-Bayt.
شما بسیاری از فرقه های تاریخی جهان اسلام می‌بینید که یک طوری مرجعیت خودشون رو به اهل بیت باز می‌گردونن، غیر از حتی آنچه که ما امروز به عنوان شیعه می‌شناسیم.
So there are groups and sects within the Islamic world other than the Shia that also look towards or find their authority through the Ahl al-Bayt.
مثلا جریان عرفانی جهان اسلام نوعاً اینها به لحاظ سلوک باطنی خودشون اغلب به اهل بیت خودشون رو باز می‌گردونن.
For example, the mystical or the irfani and the tasawwuf in the Islamic world, in most cases they take their authority back to the Ahl al-Bayt.
یا چون بحث ما در مورد عقل و عقلانیت، بسیاری از جریان‌های عقلانی جهان اسلام به تکس‌های اهل بیت خودشون رو باز می‌گردونن، مثل معتزله و شرح نهج البلاغه ابن عبدالحدید نسبت به نهج البلاغه.
Because our topic is about intellectuality, even certain intellectual currents like the Mu'tazilis, even they find their source of authority and many of their texts